All right, let's get right into it. We're talking about a massive shift in how we think about work, mental health, and the promises employers make. It all comes down to one single court case that basically redrew the entire map.
So think about this for a second. Can a broken promise from your boss actually count as a workplace injury? I mean, for years, the answer was kind of murky, but mostly no. But what happens when the harm from that broken promise is real, it's serious, and it's psychological?
Well, believe it or not, a 2024 court ruling came back with a big, bold yes. That's right, the courts have now drawn a direct line between what an employer says in a contract and an employee's mental health. The damage from a breach is now seen as a legitimate injury.
And look, this isn't some minor legal update. This is huge. We're about to walk through how this one case completely redefined what an employer's duty of care really means. It's kicked off a whole new era of responsibility.
So that's what we're going to do in this explainer. We're going to unpack that exact case, Elisha versus Vision Australia. We'll look at how things used to be, what exactly changed, and the big one, what this all means for you, no matter which side of the desk you're on.
To really get why this is such a game changer, we have to rewind a bit and look at the old legal landscape. You see, for a long time, the system had this major blind spot when it came to mental harm caused by broken promises. It was just incredibly difficult to prove.
Okay, so this slide shows the problem perfectly. Think about it like this. If your employer was negligent, they didn't clean up a spill and you slipped and broke your arm, there was always a clear, straightforward path to make a claim. Easy. But a breach of contract, that was different. That's about breaking a specific promise made to you. Let's say you were guaranteed a certain role and then they took it away, causing severe anxiety. Well, trying to get compensation for that psychiatric injury was pretty much impossible. The legal path was basically blocked.
And this wasn't just some legal mumbo-jumbo. This created a massive, real-world gap in protection. You could have employees suffering genuine mental harm directly because their employer didn't hold up their end of the deal, and they had almost no way to fight it using contract law.
And that leads us right to the main event, the case that changed everything, Elisha versus Vision Australia Limited. This case didn't just poke at the old rules, it took a sledgehammer to them, forcing the courts to finally deal with that giant gap in protection we were just talking about.
So, at the very heart of this case was this simple idea, a breach of an employment contract. All that means is one side, employer or employee, doesn't do what they officially agreed to do. We're talking about a promised promotion that just vanishes, or a key part of your job being taken away without warning. You get the idea.
And this was the million-dollar question for the court. Could you actually draw a straight line from an employer breaking a promise in a contract to the real psychiatric harm an employee suffered? And if you could, should that employee get damages for it?
So, how did the court answer? Well, they didn't just think about it. They came back with a really decisive, powerful answer that set a brand new precedent for every workplace out there.
And there it is, the absolute core of the decision. The court said, yes, you absolutely can be awarded damages for psychiatric injury if it's caused by a breach of contract. It finally closed that gap, recognizing that this kind of harm is real and legally valid.
And just to be clear, we're not talking about some ancient law. This happened in 2024. This is fresh. We are literally living in the brand new reality created by this legal shift, and the ripple effects are just starting to spread.
Okay, so let's get to the really important stuff. What does this actually mean for you, day to day, at work? Let's break down this new reality for both employees and employers.
If you're an employee, this is a pretty big deal. It opens up a whole new way to seek help if a broken promise, not just about money, but about your role, your career, your support system, causes real psychological harm. It means employers are now way more accountable for the words they put in a contract. Now, for employers, this definitely expands your liability. Your duty of care isn't just about preventing slips and falls anymore. It clearly includes the mental health fallout from your contracts. Every promise you make, whether it's during hiring or in a review, now carries a whole lot more legal weight. Every management decision has to be seen through this new lens. So, if you boil it all down, the key takeaway is this. An employment contract isn't just paperwork. It's a binding promise. And this ruling makes it crystal clear that breaking that promise can have serious, profound consequences for the psychological safety of your workplace.
Which leaves us with a pretty big question to think about. After this ruling, what does a safe workplace even mean anymore? It's obvious the definition has grown. It's not just about physical safety now. It's about psychological safety, and that safety is built on the promises an employer makes.